Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the right hand. And this is the podcast where we talk about law firm owners and how to build stronger, smarter, more sustainable law firms. Most law firms, lawyers start their firm basically to gain freedom, to gain independence. But, as the firm grows, what happens is new challenges appear, and that's hiring, leadership, operations, profitability. I'm sorry. So this podcast explores the strategies and the insights that help law firm owners move from simply practicing law to successfully running a law firm. So this is brought to you by Reuben Allen in cooperation with Marshall Graham. And this is the strategic right hand for growing law firms. I am Greg Copeland. Let's jump into it and let's talk about the difference between a practice and a real law firm. So what do you mean by that, Greg? Well, we're going to talk about it. So what happens is most lawyers, they start their own practice to gain independence. And uh, for many, that works. They have that independence. Have more time in their hands. They have the freedom to come into the office when they want to, or the freedom to leave when they want to. But what happens is there's an important distinction that often gets overlooked in all of this, and that's the difference between a having a legal practice and an actual law firm. And you're probably like, Greg, what are you talking about? Those are the same thing. And you know what? At first, it may sound like the same thing, but the reason why I'm here to tell you they're not. So let's kind of touch upon it. So a practice, and this is how I see a practice. You may see it a little bit different, but this is just how I and us at Reuben Allen and Marshall Graham, we feel um kind of what a practice is. So a practice basically revolves around one lawyer. Um, the lawyer generates the work. The lawyer manages the cases. The lawyer makes the decisions. And the entire organization exists to support that lawyer's work. And when the lawyer stops working, the practice stops working. Practice stops producing. So that's kind of how I see what the practice is, what a practice is. And that's in contrast to a firm. So the firm operates differently. A firm has systems. A firm has teams. A firm has leadership beyond the founder. Um, so when the founder's not away, the firm still runs. Clients are served through basically an organized structure rather than one individual or just the founder's capacity. So when the founder's away on vacation, firm can still run. And what happens is this creates something powerful. It creates scalability, the ability to grow. And so what happens is most lawyers, they intend to build firms, but they accidentally, what they're building is actual practices. Um, Afraid to let go. They continue to handle everything themselves. Uh, Billing, marketing, um, you know, follow-ups, interviewing, every single IT, every single aspect of the firm, they want to handle. They remain the decision maker for every single issue, even no matter how small it is, like ordering paper. Um, they become the center of every workflow. And so eventually what happens is the firm depends entirely on them. So when they're not there, the firm doesn't move. When they're busy or stalled, when they're busy or stalled, the firm is busy and stalled. And what happens is that makes the growth extremely difficult because every single aspect of that firm depends on them. And if the Owner's busy, the founder's busy, the firm is busy, firm can't grow. So at some point, every law firm owner slash founder must decide, they must make a strategic decision. They must decide, what is it I want to do? Do I want to run a practice or do I want to build an actual firm? And that's because building a firm requires a, a different approach. It requires leadership, having that vision, and being able to pull or push everyone in that organization towards that vision. The ability to delegate. And this is very important because not only is it the ability to delegate, I call it the ability to let go, the ability to trust others with your baby, with, with what you've built, the ability to trust someone to handle the marketing, or trust someone to handle the intake process, or trust someone to follow up with billing and send out billing, or trust someone to handle any IT issues to make sure things are getting done. Um, you have to have the ability to delegate. Also, building a law firm requires creating systems, putting systems in place. And I just don't mean electronic systems. I mean systems for what happens when if A happens, what do I do? What's the system for that? What happens from the time someone calls into the law firm with an issue? How do we schedule them for an initial consultation? How do we bring them on as a client? What process do we take from there to gather information, A, B, C, D, all the way through to make sure that um, person matter is handled sufficiently? Uh, you have to put these systems. What happens, you know, when uh, someone's late on billing? What do we need to do? Someone's late, excuse me, on paying their bill. What do we do? What happens when a client becomes non-responsive? What's the system in place that we have for that? What's the system in place for everything? Um, and so you have to build systems for a law firm. And most importantly, there has to be structure. You have to have structure. You can't handle matter A one way, and matter not meaning a case, but a client's experience is handled one way and another client experience is handled another way. There has to be structure. There has to be process. So everyone in the firm is moving in the same direction. So they know when client A calls with this situation, do I really need to involve the law firm owner, or do I have a structure in place in which I can handle um, this need or answer this question the client may have? Because it may just be a question that doesn't even need to come across the law firm owner's desk. What happens when client A is unresponsive? What's the structure in place for that? What happens when assistant one is sick? What's the structure in place for that? That's very important when it comes to law firms. So both models can actually be very successful. If you want to run a practice. That's your thing. But if you want to build a firm, that's different, because even though they can both be successful, they both produce very different outcomes. A practice depends on the lawyer. An actual firm, becomes an organization and doesn't depend on any one person. And when you understand that difference, this is the first step toward building something bigger. So just wanted to get that out to you. Um, Thanks for listening to the Right Hand Podcast. If you're a law firm owner looking to build stronger, more organized, and a more profitable law firm, please visit ReubenAllen.com and learn about how we help law firms grow. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to follow the show and share with another law firm leader. Till next time, we'll see you. Thank you very much. Look forward to speaking with you. Thank you.